everybody, welcome to a video sponsored by Lumix and to Wales. Newborough Beach, in fact, specifically. One of my favourite places in the world, but not today because, well, today I've forgotten my sunglasses, which sucks because I forgot how bright beaches are. And as you can probably see, I'm not the world's most natural squinter. Right, I am back in Wales this weekend for three reasons. The first of which is to see some family and friends. The second is that Emily and I have got some wedding meetings. We're meeting the florist and stuff. We're getting married here in November, not here, but in Wales. So we're meeting people like the florist. I have no idea how useful I'll be in meetings like that, but you never know. And the third reason is to test a lens that I've been super excited to test this lens ever since the photography show, which is in March, when I first held one. Now, I have banged the Micro Four Thirds drum for a good couple of years now, and one of the reasons I love it so much is the compact size, the micro in the Micro Four Thirds. The fact that the bodies and lenses compared to full frame equivalents and even APS-C equivalents, they're just tiny. And therefore, I imagine some of you over the next few minutes are going to be thinking, why on earth is James interested in this? Yes, this is the Lumix Leica 10-25 f1.7, a lens I've been very, very excited to test and try. And the reason I'm interested in this lens is, well, there are four of them. The first is this, the 8-18 Leica Lumix lens, which I have and love. Now, I reckon this is one of four lenses that could be replaced by the 10-25. So this 8-18 runs from 2.8 at the wide end to f4 at the long end, meaning that it's nowhere near as versatile as this, the constant aperture f1.7, let alone the fact that this runs to 25mm, not just 18. Quick interjection, if you're not familiar with the depth of field differences between full frame cameras and crop sensor cameras, basically in Micro Four Thirds the depth of field will be doubled for equivalent apertures between Micro Four Thirds and full frame. So if you're shooting f1.4 on Micro Four Thirds, that's an equivalent depth of field of f2.8 on a full frame camera. So f1.7 wouldn't be f1.7 on a full frame camera. That said, I never find myself wanting in Micro Four Thirds for shallow depth of field. Lots of people probably do if you're into certain kinds of photography. It's not a problem for me. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that because there's always people in the comments going, oh, that's not really a 1.7 lens. Reason number two the 10-25 could work for me is my 15mm f1.7, which is another cracking lens, but I think to myself, would I keep that lens if the 10-25 performs well at 15mm wide open? Probably not. Reason number three is my 25mm f1.4. Again, if this lens can perform well at the long end at 25mm, then I think to myself, would I keep the 25-1.4? Maybe not. And the fourth reason, which I wasn't thinking initially, but I have been thinking about a lot recently, is my 12-35, which I'm filming on right now. That's a 2.8 lens. I use it an awful lot, but I was looking through my back catalogue, and I reckon about 95% of the images that I've taken with it have been between 12 and 25mm. So I'm looking at this lens as, yes, a heavy lens, yes, a big lens, but it's a lens that's not going to be added to my kit. It's going to replace another lens, and not just that, it could get rid of 3 other lenses as well. So yeah, while it adds weight to the immediate kit, while it adds weight to the camera that I'm using, my real problem that I have is bag weight. I like to keep bag weight down, and I reckon there's a good chance that if this performs well, my bag weight will actually go down rather than up. So that, in a nutshell, is why this lens is of interest to me and why I'm excited to give it a test. Now, this is a pre-production model, so I can't read too much into the image quality, but I'm certainly looking forward to an afternoon in one of my favourite places in the world with one of the most exciting lenses that I've tested in a long, long time. Albeit without sunglasses. Walking boots on sand's hard work, isn't it? One thing I probably should say about this lens before we go any further is that I would consider buying it even if it's terrible, even if it's soft in the corners, if it's soft in the centre. If it's just a rubbish lens, it might still have my heart because, well, I've never had a lens with a pullback focus ring. That is just... any photographer will appreciate that feeling, I reckon. Right, so here we are on the G9, vlogging at 10mm on the 10-25 and set to f1.7. Now please bear in mind that the shutter speed is currently 3,200, and that's because this is alone and I don't have any filters that are this thread size yet, so I'm sure the video looks awful, but apart from the shutter speed, what do you think? I reckon this is the perfect focal length, and I think it's really nice that there's a relatively shallow depth of field compared to the other lenses that I use too. Certainly compared to my my 8-18, this looks like a, I mean, just looking on the side screen, this looks, yeah, I like it. That said, I probably will have to get a little bit stronger than I currently am to vlog with this lens, because it's not as light as my others, but I think it's a price worth paying. Well, I might go blind, and I imagine the only thing more frustrating than doing that, with it being your own fault, is doing it unnecessarily. Guess what I've just found in the glove box? For f***. 1108-732. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a weight saving, if I was to get this lens and get rid of these four, of, can't do maths, 378 grams, or a 12 to 35 and a little bit more. So not insignificant, although I'm not sure it's significant enough on its own to get Emily to sign off on the purchase of this. Now, I think lots of people assume that I get free lenses and cameras from Lumix because I'm an ambassador and because some of my videos, including this one, are sponsored by them. That's not the case. I do still have to buy my own gear, so this will need clearance from Emily. Might have to tell her it's a couple of kilos saving. But the other advantage I can, of course, tell her about is the fact that if I have one lens that does roughly the same job as four others, then I'll need to change lenses an awful lot less, and therefore, in theory, I should miss less shots, which, given that that's my living, that would probably be beneficial. Now, image quality. Now, as I said, this is a pre-production model, so I've not delved too much into image quality, but from what I have seen, I like. Now, of course, with all these Leica Lumix collaborations, I've had enough of them to know what to expect in terms of image quality, and this one does not disappoint. There are some differences. So, for example, I found that 10mm on the 8-18, certainly in the corners, was a little bit sharper than the 10-25. Sort of to be expected, to be honest, given that lenses very rarely perform at their best at the extremes. That said, the 10-25 did very well against the primes, the 15 and the 25, and so much so that I don't think I'd have any qualms, based on what I've seen so far and what I've read from other reviews, with replacing the primes for this. Also, one last thing, this, I reckon, would be a phenomenal street photography lens. I mean, it's not the most discreet, as you can see, but aside from that, I think it covers all the bases. Not that I'm the most renowned street photographer, but I'd certainly be wanting to give street photography a go if and hopefully when I get my hands on one of these. So yeah, cracking. Also, if anybody's in the market for any of these lenses, please do let me know, because that might help the pitch. Thanks for watching.